Good. Let me introduce Elise to you. First of all, Elise and I have been friends for over 15 years. For the last 10 years or so, we have met 2 or 3 times a year to just talk about leadership and talk about faith and work and what that looks like in her life. About 2 years ago, she joined our Work Matters Board of Directors to help us really shape our vision for the future. But Elise is a true entrepreneur. It has been amazing to watch her grow her company, Mitchell Communications Group, initially literally out of her home over 20 years ago, and then to receive so much fruit for her company as well as her personally for the work that they've done. Let me just share a few of the awards that they've received. Top 10 fastest growing public relations firm globally. 2 times Inc. 500, 5,000 fastest growing company. Entrepreneur of the Year, Agency Professional of the Year, just to name a few. Then in 2012, 20 years into building this company, Elise started a new season in her life. She actually sold her company to a global communications company called Dentsu Aegis Network. So she now serves as CEO of her original company, Mitchell, as well as CEO of Dentsu Aegis Public Relations Network. Now, here's what I think matters to you guys today. Elise learned about leadership the hard way. For 20 years, she wrestled with building a company and learned leadership lessons that go along with that. So the last couple of years, she has taken those leadership lessons, put them into a brand new book. It's been out about 3 months now. It's called Leading Through the Turn. It's sold in 9 countries. It has ranked as a #1 seller, new release seller on Amazon in 2 different business categories. So, Elise, as you're about to find out, is one of the most dynamic, energetic people that I've ever known, and you're going to be blessed by her message today, Finding Purpose in the Journey. Let's welcome a very flexible Elise Mitchell. Thank you.
The journey matters as much as the destination. Well-intentioned people like to remind those of us who are driven souls about this advice, but I never bought it. I'm a destination person by nature. In business and family life, I like to know where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. The rest is just scenery, right? Sound familiar? Is this you or someone you know? I have reached a lot of destinations that I have set my sights on, and perhaps the biggest and most rewarding one was what David mentioned a few minutes ago about having the privilege of building a company from scratch and selling it to a global organization. And we've reaped many rewards from that, that's for sure. So don't get me wrong. Entrepreneurship has been the ride of my life, but it almost cost me far more. There was a time when all I thought about was winning at work until an interesting thing happened to me a few years ago. I stopped sleeping. Now, I didn't have any trouble going to bed at night, as my husband will tell you, about midnight every night. He'd be talking to me, and he'd look over, and boom, I was out. Mid-sentence, I was asleep. So I didn't have any trouble going to sleep. But about 2:30 or 3 every morning, I was wide awake, never to go back to sleep. This went on for about 3 months. And, I was dealing with all the concerns at work for sure, but there was one question that was burning in the back of my brain, and it would never go away. And it was, is this all there is? Now, that's a frightening thing to face if you are a destination person, because I knew I had drive and determination. But I had always honestly defined myself by my achievements. And if the destination was not worth reaching, what was I striving for? And I did find one answer that turned me around, and it's this. It isn't that the destination is not worth pursuing, but in my pursuit of the destination, I had missed the journey along the way. But maybe, just maybe, if I could make the journey matter more, I could reclaim my life and find deeper purpose and meaning in my work. So, how do we make the journey matter? And does that actually help us find greater purpose in our work? Well, absolutely, I think it does. And there are so many things that you could do. And I want to take just a few minutes this morning to look at the two probably biggest, most important areas of your life, your work life and your personal life, and share a couple of tips that have worked for me and helped me find a way to make the journey matter. You know, I remember as a young professional, I aspired to be a leader someday. But when I looked around and I saw all the different types of leaders that were in the news or that were being glamorized by the media for sure, I was confused because I thought that to be successful, you had to be tough and not show any emotion or care about other people. And you had to be willing to step on anybody to get where you wanted to go. And for sure, you had to know all the answers or at least pretend like you did. And the problem was, I wasn't like this at all. So I began to wonder, how can I be successful as a leader just being myself? And I wonder if you have thought about that too. Have you ever wondered that being you wasn't enough? Because I think too many times we try to fulfill other people's expectations for us, or we try to become the leader that they want us to be. But only when we are truly ourselves do we have the opportunity to lead at our best.